Hello there. So today I'm going to try something different and I'm going to start out the video with a request. If you find this video informative or entertaining or interesting or thought-provoking in any way, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're interested in more things like this, things like self-development. I've been told, I don't know, only have 7 subscribers, but I've been told it helps the channel grow, so doing a little experiment. So if you wouldn't mind, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It would be incredible. And today, what I'm going to be talking about is basically what happens when we do things that kind of take away from us in some way. This is a newfound understanding that I've come to recently. In my past, I used to think there were two types of kind of bad behavior or wrong behavior. Um, One of the types is like this. Let's say our life's going along, this metaphorical kind of thing, and all of a sudden, let's say, we cheat on our wife, or we steal a car, or we murder somebody, whatever have you. So that type of bad behavior would lead to, if this is the progress of your life, it would lead to something like this. And so that's like one of the types of bad behavior, you know. The other type of bad behavior that I was thinking about recently, and I want to make this clear. I used to think that these were separate things, where we had this type of bad behavior, which leads to a catastrophic decline in value of a relationship, of a friendship, of your personal life, things like this. The other type of bad behavior I used to think is when you're kind of chugging along like this, and let's say, like I used to do, I would smoke weed literally all the time, or play video games, or watch pornography, or something like this. These things that we do that don't really have an immediate horrible effect on our life, but actually do take away from us in some way. And so that would be something like this, where then we kind of keep going, and then maybe we smoke weed again, and we again and again. The thing about it is that here and here, there are two places here where basically we're not kind of living up to our potential, or we're not growing. There's nothing inherently wrong with watching a pornographic content or smoking weed or something, getting your buzz on. But the thing about it is that if you do these behaviors repeatedly, they kind of take away. And so what you get is, instead of having something like this where there's a recovery, you're kind of coming along, and you get high and you get high and you get high and you get high day after day after day. And I think maybe it's this type of behavior that leads to like anxiety, prolonged anxiety, things like this, not taking responsibility, for what's going on. And so we have these big wrongs like this, and we have these little wrongs like this. And my new understanding is that there actually is only one type. And, when we do these things that cause us shame, guilt, that cause us to not feel, anything that we do where we wouldn't want to tell other people about it, right? Those are the types of things that I'm talking about here, where, it's hiding from the truth. Any behavior that we do that causes us to want to kind of shelter in, or hide from the truth, or not tell anybody about it. It's these types of behaviors that I'm talking about. And the ultimate point that I'm trying to get to here is that everything that we do either has a cost or has a benefit. And when we do these things that we don't want to tell people about, they have a tremendous cost. And this could be, it could create shame. It could erode relationships. It could create space in a relationship. These types of things. And so now what I want to do is tell you a story about a pastor and his son. So, one day, a pastor's sitting there, his son comes up to him, Daddy, there's this new movie. All the kids are talking about it. May I go see it? And the pastor's like, well, what movie are we talking about here? And the kid's like, oh, it's the new movie, with the one with all the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And the pastor's like, the one with all the sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Absolutely not. You may not go see that. What are you talking about? And the kid's like, Dad, come on. Everybody's going to go see it. And it's not like the whole movie is going to be sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It'll just be a little bit, kind of here and there. And when those things happen, I'll even shut my eyes. I'll close my ears. I won't look at those parts. Pastor says, "You know what, son? I'll make you a deal. We're going to make a plate of brownies. And if you eat every brownie on that plate, you can go watch this movie." His son's like, "Are you kidding me? Absolutely. I'm down for that. I'll make you a deal. Let's do it." He says, "Okay." So they get in the truck, they drive to the store, they buy the eggs, they buy the flour, they buy the sugar and the chocolate. On their way home, they're walking in the porch or walking up the porch, and they stop by the garden. Dad grabs a little turd out of the garden. Sounds like, yeah, that's a little bit interesting. They walk inside, they put the water in the flour, they knead the dough, they put the eggs in, they put the cocoa in, they put the sugar in, they're making their brownies. And right before the brownies are going into the oven, the pastor takes that poop and starts sprinkling it into the brownies. The son sees this, he's like, "Dad, I'm about to eat that. What are you doing? Are you kidding? I'm not going to eat it now." The moral of that story is that even if there's a little bit of shit in something, it still adulterates the whole thing. You can't have a delicious plate of brownies if there's going to be shit in the brownies. And that's the ultimate point of the story here is, every single day we have an opportunity to make a plate of brownies. We can either put a lot of shit in our brownies, or we can even sprinkle in the brownies, sprinkle in the shit in the brownies. It doesn't matter. But ultimately, each day we have an opportunity to make a plate of brownies. And so I'll just ask you, what type of brownies do you want to make today? Um, if I had been asking this question of myself, you know, well, I'm dealing with some pain right now, and ultimately it's all caused by me. And the pain ultimately came from somebody else, somebody in my life deciding that they no longer want to be a part of it, or at least the specific relationship that we had. This person no longer wants to be a part of that relationship. Maybe this person will still be in my life. I really hope so. But part of our relationship is now over. And one of the things that I forgot about was that each day I make a brownie. And if I'm making brownies and each day I'm not doing my homework and I'm not taking care of the house and I'm smoking weed and I'm watching YouTube all night, my brownies are going to taste like shit. And the type of people that we have in our lives, they kind of they have a choice, do they want to eat a shitty plate of brownies or not? And this person decided that they didn't want to eat a shitty plate of brownies anymore. They want a plate of brownies that tastes delicious. And so, with that said, I was eating at this Chinese restaurant the other day, and I found this fortune cookie, and it was the only one I looked in. I thought it was very prescient, if I'm using that word correctly. Um, and the fortune reads, "A gambler not only will lose what they have, but also will lose what they do not have." And the point of this fortune cookie here is that this line here, or even this line here, these are the lines of gamblers. And when we do these behaviors, these wrong behaviors that we don't want to tell people about, or we want to get away with something, this is ultimately a gamble. And the gambler will not only lose what they have, but the gambler will also lose what they don't have. And so, all this to say, what type of brownies do you want to make today?